Welcome to the Pinfall Podcast. I am your host, Liz. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Marcus.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
The cat just like stuck her head in like the door, like what's going on? Happy Smackdown.
Was it
Smackdown.
though? Was it though?
Some matches were bangers, and some matches were
One match was a banger.
scissors.
Ray and Sammy could have been a little better.
I liked that. I liked that one.
I liked it too, but like the whole distraction finish was pretty lame.
And maybe it's just like how I was taking my notes tonight or something. I don't know. But there wasn't a lot of wrestling tonight.
Yeah, there were 4 matches and 2 of them were like 3 minutes combined.
Yeah.
The women's side of the card today was horribly booked. Horribly. 3 minutes total. The absolute wrong people won. And they're just giving us rematches in the Queen's Crown tournament. Which is lame.
Yeah.
Except Dewdrop and Natalia. That's the only one that's not a rematch.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very it's surprising to me, I think, because like you would think that after a certain point of people being like, damn, WWE is like doing like 2 minute women's matches and like that's it, like that's fucked up. You would think after like the 15th person said that they'd be like, should probably make like a couple longer women's matches just in case.
Well, do you think anyone at WWE cares in terms of the higher ups? As long as they're getting the tickets, people are watching, the ratings are up. Do you think anyone cares?
That's fair. It's a good point.
But we got Finn Balor versus Cesaro, which kicked ass. And we were told about Super Smackdown or Supersize Me.
He made such a small point of that like I did not even notice.
It's like Brock Lesnar's returning. They're gonna have Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks, Naomi versus Sonya Deville, and I think the Seth Edge Hell in a Cell match is happening then. Right?
How many times can Brock fucking return?
Every
Before it just
time
becomes Brock Lesnar shows up to work today.
every time he walks into like he comes to work, everyone starts cheering for him. Like every time he walks through the door, it's just cheers, cheers. Vince with like a kazoo. Yay, Brock's come back.
Uh,
I guarantee his return is gonna be like 5 minutes, either in an interview or just in the ring talking. Nothing special.
yeah. Oh, I know. We really should not expect Brock to wrestle until Crown Jewel, and we should not expect Brock to wrestle after Crown Jewel.
I don't know about that because WWE loves, especially now, to pass around their big title, which is the Universal title right now. Pass around their big title between the biggest guys, the big main event carders. Like, right, it's Roman and it's Brock, and they could keep flopping it back and forth for as long as Vince wants.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's fair. I don't know. I don't see Brock being in the position to wrestle repeatedly.
Yeah.
Especially if we're making such a big deal that he's just showing up. You know?
I think they did the same thing for Edge, though. I think so.
I don't think so.
I know they do the same thing for Goldberg, and he's actually having like a storyline right now.
Sure.
Um,
I don't know.
who knows at this point? But either way, not the best card today, for sure. Um, if this is a season premiere, this is not what you want to be showing producers. This is not a good episode to start with.
Not the way you want to kick things off, really.
It was very story heavy, which is nice. And the random matchups were nice to see. But the wrestling aspect was not very good. It was like 25% was good. 75% was mediocre at best, or average at best.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's fair.
So do you want to get into the news?
Oh, we've actually got a little bit of news today. A little
Oh,
bit.
you're gonna change the sign today?
Yeah. Season premiere, gotta start off right.
True.
Okay. The news.
Yeah.
What's the news? Alright, let me pull it up. So we'll start with some non WWE or AEW news, and that first piece of news is going to be that former TNA star Chris Harris was apparently reportedly arrested in Kenton County, Kentucky. He was apparently charged with operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol and did not have the insurance card for said vehicle.
Oh.
So apparently he was put into jail. It was like at night and was released Wednesday morning. Has a court date scheduled for Tuesday, November 2nd.
That's a rough situation.
It's not great. Not great. Don't drink and drive.
I feel like there's no excuse now that we have Uber and Lyft easily accessible. Even in rural areas.
Well, apparently some people don't get that memo.
Yeah.
Here. They just get tag team runs. So this was interesting to me. AJ Lee, no, now AJ Mendez, is back to wrestling. She is going to be working for Women of Wrestling, on their return. Which I just feel like is like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I understand why women would want to do everything they can to make WoW, like, big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Tessa Blanchard is like the face of it, I don't know if I would do that.
Well, I mean, I feel like technically AJ Mendez is the face of it. They just added Tessa Blanchard to the roster, which is a bad decision.
Tessa's actually, I think, just the casting director. I don't even know if she's actually wrestling, but
Oh, really?
yeah, but I feel like that kind of overshadows a lot of things.
Well, AJ Mendez is going to be, I think they said a producer or some kind of executive, but she will also be wrestling, I believe.
Yeah, I believe that is also very true. I don't know. It's just not a great move on their part for taking Tessa Blanchard in, I guess.
Yeah.
The point.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess I'll talk about this. Stallion issued a statement addressing his comments. Which was basically just this video where he says, like, it's been brought to my attention that at some point in the past I said some really stupid transphobic shit on a podcast I never should have said. He then like talks about how he's taken some time to address the issue and he's taken a step back. It's a very, he said, for in the future, for any potential future bookings that he's going to have for the rest of 2021, he'll be donating percentage to the National Center for Trans Equality, which it's a good apology. It does not make up for what happened, though, I feel like.
I feel like that's the most he can do, though, besides go to the past and erase what happened. Like, well, we'll see if, like, how well he sticks to that, but, you know, it's better than most other people have done.
Also, to be fair, he says, I said some stuff on a podcast in the past. Makes it feel like, oh, he must have said this in a podcast like years and years ago.
Yeah, like 10 years.
It was first starting. It was last year.
Yeah.
Summer. So it was last summer, like at the height of the speaking out movement too. So it's like, Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, just wanted to make that point. He said something about it. You can decide if it's enough for you, I guess. Then on to some AEW news, I believe. Yeah. There's only one piece of AEW news. It's that Bobby Fish signed with All Elite Wrestling. I'm really excited.
Yeah, right after Dynamite on Wednesday, they announced that Bobby Fish is All Elite. And he came out of the heel tunnel, which is interesting. Adam Cole is also a heel. And a lot of people expect Adam Cole to turn on the Super Elite. So
no, I think he's going to turn on Kenny.
Huh?
I think he's going to turn on Kenny, and I think he's going to take the Young Bucks with him.
That I've heard mixed things, and I'm not sure personally what to believe, because I feel like they could go either way. Especially maybe if they introduce the trios title, if that will change anything. But still super cool.
Yeah. I'm so happy.
Good for him. He did a fantastic job in the match this week.
Yeah. And he doesn't look like he's got any ring rust, really. This was like the best thing, I think. I'm so excited. And the fact that they were like, well, as of like tonight, he is not signed. I was like, aw. Maybe they'll do it last second, and they did. Some WWE news. First thing we'll talk about is USA is kind of fucking mad right now, because at this point, they aren't happy with the numbers that they're getting, especially because the remodeling of NXT was in order to garner the views of people in the 18 to 49 demographic.
Mm-hmm.
And that has only gone down.
You mean saying shit repeatedly on end hasn't alone been getting anyone?
Yeah, interestingly enough. But they're hoping that the little dip in the road is temporary and that it's just gonna get better.
Oh, I doubt that.
This was reported by Andrew Zarian, so you can trust what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the WWE hired two new coaches. They hired the former member of Spirit Squad, Kenny Dykstra, as a new coach for the PC, and then they also hired Allison Danger as a coach for the women.
Cool.
worked as a guest coach apparently back in May, and was brought to Cats in Las Vegas. Yeah.
I've got a couple pieces of news. I don't know if you have first one, or I guess the bigger one of the two.
I have one piece of news left, and it's about a certain Gargano.
Okay, that's one of my pieces. Let me give mine first because the one you have is a bigger one. We'll save that for last. So, according to Sports Illustrated, Lillian Garcia and Trish Stratus are going to take part in a new mental health initiative aimed at wrestling fans called Tag Me In. It's a project that aims to get people talking about their mental health.
I saw that headline and I didn't actually get to see who the wrestlers were.
It's also including Chris Jericho, Mick Foley, Kurt Angle, Lita, Psycho Clown, Gail Kim, and then Lillian Garcia and Trish Stratus.
And if there's one person I need telling me to speak up for my mental health, it's Psycho Clown. That's the one.
Where was the quote? Trish Stratus said, "We're here to open up the conversation. This is a place of comfort and a place to feel safe, and it's so nice to have someone else who can relate." So that's really nice that they're trying to be more open about mental health in professional wrestling, which is something that's definitely been needed, especially with the dreaded past in pro wrestling.
Yeah. Definitely a needed initiative.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, so it was kind of fucked up to be like, this is a bigger news story. But Johnny Gargano, whose WWE contract is up in December 3rd, I believe, has since removed all mentions of WWE from his Instagram and Twitter bios.
Right.
Curious. Very curious.
He removed WWE/NXT and has since replaced it with Pro Wrestler.
Which somebody else did that before leaving WWE.
I can't remember who it was.
Adam Cole, baby.
Oh, was it?
Not to say that if Johnny were to leave, he'd go to AEW or anything like that.
I mean, I think for sure he would, because the Young Bucks...
I think they'd be stupid to not snatch him up.
Well, the Young Bucks said before, I think it was before they even started AEW, that if there was, like, they listed a bunch of people that they would need to get if they were starting a promotion, and they listed Johnny. And the Young Bucks have been crucial with bringing in talent. Like, they brought in Bobby Fish most recently. They brought in Ethan Page. I'm sure they had a huge hand in getting Adam Cole, baby. And how could you not want Johnny as part of that roster? He's one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet right now.
He's perfect for AEW, I think.
And yeah, like you said, his contract ends December 3rd, which is just before their Long Island show, which I believe which a lot of people think is going to be the Winter is Coming special. So
the way that they're promoting the Long Island show, I definitely would not be shocked if that were a special episode.
Yeah. And last time they had the Winter is Coming special, Sting debuted.
Yeah.
Hair like on my nose that I can see. Peripheral.
I don't know. I think it's a little bit curious.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very curious.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem so happy being in WWE right now. I mean, the fact that he hasn't wrestled in a while now. I think it was his last match, I think, was against Dexter Loomis in the Love Her or Leave Her match.
I think so. And on top of that, it seems like they're completely nixing everything that they had with the way.
Right.
Oh.
It seems like right now just Johnny and Candice have been there to transition them over to 2.0, move over to the wedding, and then their job is done after Index is off their honeymoon.
It's interesting because like they did give that whole speech.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't see if he can avoid it, I don't see Johnny staying.
Yeah.
Just because it doesn't seem like he's happy. It doesn't seem like he's getting used the way he should be.
Right. And I am sure Candice being pregnant will play a huge factor in what happens, whether he's going to want some time off, or, could pull a Cody Rhodes and just not take any time off, or like an Ethan Page and not take any time off at all.
Mm.
You know?
Get it?
Um, but I'm very excited to see where his future goes, whether it's continuing with WWE or it's in AEW or wherever he wants to go. He's going to kill it because he is one of the best talents in pro wrestling. All right, so you want to talk about today's episode? You want to get into a recap?
Nothing like the first sip of a good old seltzer.
Yeah.
Burns.
All right. So, Smackdown for today. This was a very promo-filled episode. We started off with, like, immediately, no introduction or anything. We just start off with the Bianca, Becky, Sasha contract signing. Becky said...
Bianca was like, her music was like already halfway played out.
Yeah.
The time we tuned in.
Becky and Sasha were already out there. Which, I mean, for how they were positioned, I'm kind of glad we started in the middle. So that we didn't see them awkwardly come out and, like, get in their spots.
Yeah.
But Becky says, the man has come around to San Jose. I decided I was going to sit here so I could get a good look at everything. A losing streak isn't a good look going to Crown Jewel, Bianca. And Sasha, you disco ball looking fool. You attacked me after I filled in for you. Did you a favor at SummerSlam. Sasha says, "Aw, you missed me. All these people missed me. My spot is bigger than all of you combined." Bianca says, "The only conversation we should be having right now is you signing this contract. All you keep doing is returning to cheap shot me. The only thing you did at SummerSlam is ride the momentum of my work. Every big moment this year had my name in it. I'm in the ring now and you won't Sorry. I'm in the ring now and you don't want to get in the ring. I'm ready now." And then brawl starts. Bianca tries to do a double KOD with Sasha and Becky stacked, but Sasha escapes, and Bianca then does a KOD through Sasha and the table, leaving them stacked. So then we get the Mysterios in gorilla position. Ray says, other than being Universal Champion, being King of the Ring is the next best thing. It would make me sick if Sami Zayn became king, and that's not going to happen. Ray then goes out, and we go to Sami Zayn and Dom and Gorilla. Sami said, "Time for you to be your own man. I don't think you're better than your father." He then goes out, and the whole time Ray is giving a dirty look to the Tron.
Sami said that, "I think you're better than your father."
Is that not what I said?
I said, I don't think you're better than your father.
Oh. I have written, I think you're better than your father. I must have
Freudian
misread.
slip, huh?
Yeah. Alright, so yeah, we get Rey Mysterio versus Sami Zayn in the opening round of King of the Ring.
Right. Which I think it's kind of funny that they have Sammy in it because, as you reminded me, I don't think Sammy can go to Saudi Arabia.
Right, he's not allowed.
Whether it's not allowed or I don't know if it's the safest option.
No, he's not allowed. I mean, in the... I think it was the last Crown Jewel event or the last Saudi Arabia event, they specifically asked WWE to remove Sammy from the card.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there a reason?
Well, I don't know if it has to do with him being Israeli, or he might have said something on Twitter. I don't know. I don't remember exactly why, but yeah, they do not allow him in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, it's because he's Syrian.
Oh, Syrian. That's right.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's not Israeli.
My mistake.
um, Saudi Arabia banned Sami Zayn from WWE events.
Mm.
So, the point is I think we kind of know where this is going to go at the end of the day.
Yeah, King Balor.
Crossed.
Yeah, and Miriam added on top of that, not only is he Syrian, but he's very vocally anti-Saudi government.
That was kind of why I was like, I don't know if it's like a his choice kind of thing, like he doesn't want to, or makes enough sense.
I'm sure he wouldn't want to anyway.
That was what I was kind of figuring. I was like, I don't think it's like skin off his bones, but also kind of fucking sucks because, like, again, like I said, we know where this is going.
Yeah.
Same. Sammy goes for the haluva kick. He doesn't get it. Rey immediately rolls Sammy up. It doesn't work. Rey gets a Hurricane Rana off the top rope to Sammy, and then a big power bomb goes off to Rey. Rey hits Sammy with the flying head scissors and lines him up for a 619, but Sammy just exits the ring. Rey, however, does this fucking bonkers little move where he goes over the top rope like a front flip Hurricane Rana. It was very in sync and perfect, and I was kind of impressed.
Yeah, it was great. Rey killed it in this.
Yeah. So, Sammy sends the Beacons. Sammy sends Rey shoulder first into the post, which ends up sending Rey to ringside. Dom comes out, looking kind of like, which side am I on? I don't know. There's a suplex into the buckles to Rey. Sammy wants the haluva kick again, but he can't get it. He gets thrown down with a Hurricane Rana, which counters the haluva kick. There's a powerbomb to Sammy. Sammy then goes up top. He sends Rey to the apron. A huge Hurricane Rana to Sammy off the top rope, and then a little drop kick that sets him up for the 619 again. Evades it again. He gets the blue thunder bomb instead. Sammy then exposes the top turnbuckle while Jess is like yelling at Rey or something.
Yeah.
There's a seated senton onto Sammy. Notices the turnbuckle pad not being where it should be. Goes to put it back on. While Sammy's like, don't do that. Rey comes over after the turnbuckle pad's been applied, and he yells at Dom for being up on the apron.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sammy shoves Rey into Dominic. Rolls him up right afterwards to win the match. Sort of with the help of Dominic, and thus further straining Rey's relationship with Dom, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully this gets Dom away from Rey because it's what he needs. In terms of story and just being his own wrestler, like the dude needs to be in singles. And him and Sammy or him alone will be great either way.
Hmm.
Then we get a little vignette promoting Hit Row. And then we go to an interview with Seth Rollins. He says, "If you could humor me, let's review the facts. Up until SummerSlam, I'm embarrassed and humiliated, but through all that adversity, I still beat Edge at Madison Square Garden. Am I celebrated? No. I'm called a monster. Well, throw the double standards out the window. I have come out week after week and have challenged Edge. We'll figure it out. Who's the better man? Has anyone heard anything? I told Edge I was going to go to his house, and I went to his house to get an answer to my challenge. And I didn't cross any lines. And I still haven't gotten an answer. I don't even know why I'm talking to you about this. So excuse me while I go find somebody who has power." And then we get the first round of the Queen's Crown tournament with Zelena Vega versus Toni Storm. At the beginning of horribly booked match today.
Bobby Fish is wrestling Bryan Danielson on the October 16th Rampage.
Okay.
I'm gonna have a fucking conniption.
You know, what if they try and form their own Undisputed Era on AEW with like Adam Cole?
That's what I thought they were gonna try to do.
They could do Adam Cole, Bobby Fish. If Johnny Gargano comes in, he could be a part of it. Or they could do the Sydal brothers.
They're doing
what?
Disputed Era.
Disputed Era? Yeah.
I'm just so excited because Bobby like got fucked over so much like in his final times over in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that he's wrestling one of the biggest guys that's on fucking AEW right now.
Yeah. I feel like he's gonna be kind of like the Sydal brothers over at AEW. Kind of like he wrestles on Dark and Elevation a lot. Goes on Dynamite though to help, you know, fill matches, give some storylines, but backstage will like be training people.
But the thing is that I don't think him wrestling Bryan Danielson is above that at all.
Well,
I feel like it's more than just being a filler guy.
I mean, when Christian came in, he fought Matt Sydal. Same with Andrade. Yeah, those are their first matches. Was against Matt Sydal.
I don't see it though. I'm really excited for this. I think this is gonna be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to pretend that we're gonna talk about this match for longer than it happened. I could probably if I like space my words out just a little bit.
Oh.
So I think I got something in my eye. Selena goes to kick Tony. Instead gets taken down with a snapmare. There's a little bit of ground and pound. Yeah, as Jimmy would like to see. Zelena gets some sort of type of like reverse dragon sleeper submission hold on Tony. Tony ends up getting free. It's what I can only consider a tailbone buster to Zelena. Everything goes up top, but Zelena shakes the rope and tosses Storm back into the ring, and then hits her with the code red to win somehow.
Yeah, very
Very
disappointing match. I'm really excited to watch tonight's Rampage.
Wait, also, sorry, I fucked up. It's the Saturday episode of Dynamite, the one that they're having for our anniversary.
Oh, okay. October 16th. Yeah,
it's a twin versus hometown boy. Oh.
All right. So then after that match, the Bloodline comes out. Roman says, "San Jose, acknowledge me. My special counsel had one job before tonight to make sure my cousins weren't drafted to Raw. And that's what he did. So San Jose, acknowledge him. I love you, Paul. My cousins, they love you too. You're part of our family. You're our wise man. And that's what I want you to do. Be wise. I want you to come clean and tell the truth. And the crowd's chanting Suplex City. And Roman says, silly San Jose. Suplex City doesn't exist. This is the island of relevancy. I want you to admit that you're responsible for Brock Lesnar's free agency. And then Paul starts stammering. He says, I'm in a terrible situation. No matter what I say, it'll sound like I'm spinning things. I've been with your family for 40 years. You chose me, rescued me to be your tribal council. I've been accused of many things in my life. I'm guilty of even more, but I've never been accused of being stupid. Pulling the trigger now on a scheme to dethrone the tribal chief would be stupid. Wouldn't the whole thing to stay within your circle of trust for Crown Jewel? You know how you took that. You know how you know that Brock Lesnar is lying to you? We're telling you in advance of a move against you. You wouldn't choose a stupid man to be your special counsel. He can't stand the fact that at Crown Jewel the conqueror will be conquered by Roman. Roman interrupts him. He says, I don't want you to tell me. Look into that camera and tell Brock. I'll protect you because I can. Paul says, Brock, I have to give you a ton of credit. You outsmarted the wise man. Frankenstein taught the doctor a lesson. You know what's going to happen to you at Crown Jewel? They said The Undertaker couldn't be defeated at WrestleMania. He met his match. Brock Lesnar has met his match, and his match's name is Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns will walk into Crown Jewel as their tribal chief, and he will fight you as a tribal beast, and you will learn one thing. The winner and still reigning, undisputed, undefeated WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion, the tribal chief Roman Reigns. And that's not just a prediction, Brock. That's a spoiler, and you can believe that. And that ends that, and then we go to Pierce and Adam Adam Pierce and Sonya Deville with Seth Rollins. Seth walks in and says, is Edge going to be here tonight or not? Pierce says he was scheduled before you broke into his house. Seth said, I want an answer to my challenge either way. At the end of the night, I am going to go to the ring and expect him to come out and answer me. If you guys do run into Edge before I do, can you return this to him? And he shows them a picture of him and Beth. God.
I love it. Like Seth is like, I want an answer to my challenge. And they're like, yeah, but Edge is dealing with the shit that you've done.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, so? Like, Seth, you violated this man's privacy on a number of levels.
But in all fairness, they could deal with it. Edge could deal with it by fighting Seth.
That is fair.
How else would he deal with it besides get new locks?
I guess he has to murder.
Yeah. So then we get Carmelo versus Liv Morgan, the last horrible booking decision of the night.
Like, these wouldn't even be, like, considered horrible booking decisions if it weren't for the fact that, like, the last 5 fucking seconds. What is the fucking point?
I think the worst thing about these booking decisions is imagine if we got Toni Storm versus Liv Morgan next week. That would be great.
Anyways. So, again, we do the thing with the mask, and it's kind of silly because, like, we do the thing with the mask, but she does it the same, like, calls her ladies over, they apply the mask with her back of her head in view of the camera. Then she turns around and it's like, well, there's no shock factor now. Mm-hmm. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
This is dumb and you're wasting time that could be used for a match.
Yeah.
This goes right into a ground and pound right off the bat. Carmelo gets the code of silence on Liv. For a full fucking second, I was like, oh my god, are they really gonna end the match this fucking quickly? Liv ends up pulling on the weirdo mask to break free. Really, there's a super kick to Liv. Liv gets an enziguri and then sends Carmella's jaw into her shins. There's a boot to the face of Liv, though, and then a jawbreaker against the ropes, and then back in the ring, there's a super kick for Carmella to win.
Yep, and it was clean, which is unfortunate.
Yep.
Then we get an interview from Mace, one of the newest additions to SmackDown. He says, I don't think I'm going to compete. To compete implies competition. I don't see anyone who can match me. All I see is prey. I'm not coming here to compete. I'm coming here to annihilate. I think it'll be a cool addition to SmackDown.
I like that he's keeping the Mace personality, even though I don't think T-Bar is.
I don't think so either.
Dijak.
He changed his picture on Twitter to him maskless, face paintless, normal Dijak. Which, I mean, I'm excited for that. I want Dijak back.
I'm gonna miss their Twitter conversations, though, so much.
Who says they need to stop them?
It's true. Imagine Dijak's like all normal on Twitter, except for when Mace messages him, or like they're tweeting with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
No matter what, Mansoor will always be submissive and breedable.
We'll always have that.
So, God, my eyes are just like not here today.
Get that.
Like the light is fucking with them. So then we get Happy Talk. I'm so tired of Happy Corbin. I'm so tired of it. He says, I am the happiest man in the world. One of the things that makes me so happy is my buddy, Madcap Moss. And Moss says, what instrument do you find in the bathroom? A tuba toothpaste. A tuba toothpaste. And Liz started cackling like she is now.
I think that's clever as fuck.
Of course you think that. Then we get Kevin Owens coming out. He starts beating up Moss immediately and brings a fight to Corbin. But Moss and Corbin fight back. And then they deliver a neck breaker to... Moss delivers a neck breaker to Owens. Then we get Pierce and Sonya backstage. Naomi then walks in. And Sonya says, you're not worthy of being a queen or being on the roster. But Naomi says, I'm a 2-time SmackDown Women's Champion. Sonya said, well, I'm not done with you on SmackDown yet. I think she mentions something about going to Raw. She said, you have a match next week. Against who? Me. And so, I actually get the resolution to this pretty soon.
And we better fucking win.
Oh, I'm sure she will.
If she does, I'm gonna be like...
Also, Miriam said if Liz had made that joke, it would have been 1,000 times more charming. Yeah.
Would you have laughed, Mark?
Yeah, because it wouldn't have come from someone named Madcap.
Fair enough, okay. Self.
So then we get our final match of the night, Finn Balor versus Zazaro.
I wasn't paying attention to the clock, and I was like, this must be the main event. And then we went to commercial, we came back, and it was like still 9:30, and I was like, be the main event. I would watch that for that long, but like still, that's a bit much.
Yeah.
So Finn was fucking loud in this match. Like there were so many times where like Cesaro was like tossing him around, he was just like, ah.
I think he was having more fun because he likes Cesaro.
Probably. So Finn gets a headlock on Cesaro, which becomes a head scissor submission on Finn. Cesaro gets Finn down in the tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, and then Finn gets absolutely fucking launched into the buckles, like so hard I thought the buckle was going to come off.
Mm-hmm.
There's then a leg drop onto Finn. Cesaro starts uppercutting him. Balor ends up jumping over Cesaro, gets a double leg takedown to Mr. Cesaro, and then Cesaro gets launched over the top rope to the floor. It's always terrifying to look at because like he's just so tall that like his feet make contact first. And I'm always like, ankles. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. This was not a good match for people who are sensitive to something that could happen to their ankles, I feel like.
Yeah.
So Finn goes to fly out onto Cesaro, but I guess he takes way too fucking long because by the time that he gets halfway across the ring, Cesaro is back in the ring. Throws Finn up with an uppercut, pop-up uppercut. And then stomps on Cesaro against the ropes. We get an uppercut to Finn in the corner, and then another in the corner. He just goes back and forth between the corners, uppercutting Finn. Finn, however, finally stops the repetition with a sling blade. He goes up top, but Cesaro meets him up there, hits him with an uppercut, headbutts him. Cesaro ends up getting a superplex after quite a bit of work. He then ends up getting a crossface submission on Finn. Finn rolls backwards, getting Cesaro to break the hold. Balor then avoids the swing, ends up trying to roll up Cesaro, doesn't quite get anything. He then sends Cesaro shoulder first into the post, dives out onto him, and then gets him back in the ring, drop kicks him, and finally hits him with the coup de grace. Win.
Yep. Very fun match. Very fun. Also, a little bit of news according to Wrestling Observer News. Going forward, the Aaa Tag Titles, they're going to be defended by the Lucha Brothers on AEW and in Mexico. So they'll be treated as kind of a secondary title, like the NWA title on the women's roster. We'll probably see some AAA guys come up to fight for it, which would be really cool.
Well, that'll be fun.
Maybe see a Hijo del Vikingo on an AEW. Alright, so then we have the final segment. Oh, wait, no, not yet. So Becky Lynch is with Sonya and Pierce, and she says, "This is my show, not Roman's. I have delivered on every request you've asked for me. What have those two dopes done? They blindside me, attack me from behind. I gave the people the biggest match possible." Pierce says, "We know how good you are. All you have to do is prove it to the rest of the world, so sign the contract." And she signs the contract and throws the contract at Pierce, hitting him in the nuts. And he's keeled over, and Sonya is corpsing. And then the last segment of the night, Seth Rollins comes out. He says, "The time has come. We've been waiting all day. I've been waiting all my life for a moment like this. So come on out here and answer my challenge. Don't keep the people waiting. We don't have to do this tonight, man. Name the stipulation. It can be anything. We could have the match in your living room. What happened to the rated R superstar? What happened to the ultimate opportunist? I know what happened. I ended him with one stomp in Madison Square Garden. If you're not going to show up, then I'm going to take that as an admission from you that I am not Edge Light and that I am better than you in every conceivable way." The crowd starts booing. Seth said, "No, I understand. You guys are disappointed. This is not how I thought this would go. This isn't about me, though. You're not just disappointing me. You're disappointing all of your fans, man. All of your fans, and more importantly, you're disappointing your family. It's embarrassing, but it's true. I cannot imagine what it must be like for your little girls to know that their daddy is no longer an inspiration, that he's a coward. Must break their little hearts into tiny pieces." And then on the Tron, they cut to Edge driving in to the arena. And he comes out to the ramp. he starts attacking Seth. He brings him over to the desk, and Pat loses his headset, and it's like caught on Seth as he's being dragged. And then Edge starts using it on him as a weapon. He then grabs a steel chair, pulls out the steel rod, and tries to give Seth the business. But Seth breaks out. He runs away. Edge says, "You, me, Hell in a Cell." I said, well, that's not for another year now. We'll be waiting a long time.
Long-term booking, buddy.
Yeah. Before then, though, is the trial. He's gonna sue.
Perfect.
And that's our that is our SmackDown. I almost said NXT. It would have been much worse if it was. Alright, so you want to talk about the bests of the night?
I think we could talk about the best of the night.
Alright, but before we get to the best of the night, leave a question in the chat for our question segment, and we'll get to it after the best of the night. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment. We'll get to it after, or the next episode. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm tired.
It's in here.
Alright, so again, before we get to the best of the night, let me run through the current top 10 of professional wrestling. They're the ELO rankings of wrestlers across all major promotions. So starting at number 10, we've got one half of the Raw Tag Team Champions, Riddle. Number 9, we have the former TNT Champion, Miro. Number 8, one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, Wes Lee. Number 7, the other half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, Nash Carter. Number 6, one half of the Impact Tag Team Champs, Doc Gallows. Number 5, the former X Division Champion, now the contender for the Impact World's Champion, Josh Alexander. Number 4, he's just some guy, Sting's best friend, Darby Allin. Number 3, the Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. And number 2, he is the Bout Machine, the AEW World Champion, the AAA Mega Champion, Kenny by God Omega. Used to be number 1 for the longest time, but he has been dethroned now. Now at number 1, he is the United States Champion, Damian Priest. What matters is those house shows. They have Roman lose all of their house shows. Damian
Makes sense.
Damian defends his title on all of them.
Wow.
And I want to like not consider them, but I've heard they've had titles switch hands on house shows before.
Really?
Yeah. I think very infrequently, but
I can imagine.
yeah. Plus, I mean, it's still booking at the end of the day. All right, so let's talk about bests of the night. Promo of the night. I mean, my promo of the night, I have to go with Roman and Paul. Just Paul going through that whole elaborate scenario of how he's not stupid. That was so good. I was like, you're being very specific right now, though.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
So do you think he's working for Brock? Yeah.
yeah. I think he's not only working for Brock, I think he's going to get fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. If I don't know, I feel like wouldn't be able to do Roman without Paul anymore. Or like you can't do Roman without Paul now.
Yeah. I get that.
Unless they bring in another manager for him, but they wouldn't be as good as Paul. You'd have to get Chavo Guerrero to be his manager.
Imagine. God.
That's where the Forbidden Door really opens. We have Roman versus Andrade.
I think like that's like the last thing that everybody who's been like released by AEW or by AEW by WWE wants
Mm.
at this point, because they're like, no, I don't want to face WWE people again, please. Remind me.
Although Daniel Bryan is facing Bobby Fish, so or Bryan Danielson, God, it's gonna be so bad for me.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Never gonna be able to call him Bryan Danielson consistently. All right, so wrestler of the night. I know who I want to pick. Do you have any ideas?
I think I'd probably pick Finn.
I was gonna go with Ray. I thought Finn and Cesaro were great, but I think Ray just like was on a new normal today. Like he kind of killed it.
Sure. Go with that.
All right, cool. So then let's go over our match of the night. Like always, this is from the worst to best rated. Starting from the worst with a 3 out of 10. Zelena Vega versus Toni Storm. Toni should have absolutely won that. Incredibly short. Zelena before this has had 1 win, and they are doing Toni such a disrespect or a disservice. Next up with a 4 out of 10, Carmelo versus Liv Morgan. Liv should have won. It wasn't entertaining at all, really. I mean, it was fine. Wasn't as bad as Zelena and Toni, but it's still not great. Still not great. Liv is good though.
Yeah. Liv deserves so much more.
Yeah, she does. All right, so up next with a 6 out of 10, Rey Mysterio versus Sami Zayn. This would have been a lot higher up for me had the whole Dominic interruption not ended the match. If they had it happen but it didn't end the match, that would have been great. But because it resulted in Rey losing, made the match kind of lame in the moment. I'm sure
Your cat just... Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, I'm sure it'll result in a good storyline.
I think so. I like the storyline a lot. I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that your cat was snoozing when a motorcycle went by. She like jolted up and it made a noise at her, and she went. And she's just sitting and staring at me because she's probably mad that I'm telling the story.
Oh, she's embarrassed. All right, and then finally, my pick for match of the night with a 7 out of 10, Finn Balor versus Cesaro. It was just a lot of fun. These guys are great wrestlers, and they killed it from a technical aspect. No real story or anything going into it. No complexity. It was just very fun. Very fun. Great to watch.
I agree with you. I like this a lot.
And we need more matchups like this. Just random, off-the-cuff ones.
Yeah. And we won't get them because this is just for King of the Ring. But
yeah. I mean, you say that, but for Queen's Crown, they can't even give us original matchups.
That's because it's women's wrestling, Mark.
Oh, right. Right. It's all about drama. All right. So, to run it back, promo of the night. Paul says he's not stupid. Wrestler of the night, Rey Mysterio. Match of the night, Finn Balor versus Zazaro. Right, you want to answer some questions?
I'll answer a question.
I need to pull up on YouTube. If we have any questions on there. I have yet to upload Tuesday's episode because we had my sister's wedding.
Yes.
All right. So while that is loading, Miriam asked, if you had to compete on a cooking or baking competition show with one wrestler as your sous chef, who would you pick? Oh, I got an easy one. Corbin. Corbin loves his meats. If we're are we talking in kayfabe or in real life?
It's up to you.
Maybe one kayfabe, one real life.
Mm.
Corbin's definitely the real life answer.
God, I feel like of all people, I should have a good answer to this, and I don't.
Well, it's definitely not Indy Hartwell. All she loves is chicken tenders.
Oh God. Okay. That's fair. Hmm. I feel like there's so many wrestlers that I'm like, I know that cook, and now I'm like not able to think of any of them.
Maybe Reggie, former
Maybe
sommelier.
it's a possibility. I think like I need somebody that I can communicate well with.
Mm-hmm.
Not using them for their skills. I'm just like I need their help.
Right.
I'd probably the cheap answer. I'd probably choose Bryan Danielson. We're both Geminis, so we'll be
Oh
on the
god.
same wavelength.
I'm sure, because you've been on such great wavelength. The other Geminis. um,
Wait.
but I'm trying to think of like a kayfabe answer, like who in kayfabe is like a really good cook. Um, hmm. Um, has anyone had like a cooking gimmick at all?
I feel like that has to have happened.
Yeah.
I think that's why like my head is stumped because I'm like I feel like we've been here. I feel like we've done this before.
I feel like Impact would have something like that. Impact have like a chef. Well, Bryan Danielson would be a good option because he's very like he's a foodie, but like he's
I'm a
vegan,
nut.
right?
I would be hard pressed to believe that he was not.
Yeah.
Um, he's
So
so ecocentric.
yeah, and because he's so ecocentric, I feel like he knows a lot about like vegetables and fruits.
I think we're misusing the word.
Well,
I
no,
think we're trying to
I'm
say
just
eco.
I'm
Oh, I
making an
know what you're saying.
assumption based on that.
But yeah, I don't know. I think like if I were to choose like a kayfabe option, it would have to be like, oh, I know what I would do.
Hmm.
Silly. Maybe like I would choose
Here's an easy answer. Red Velvet. She'd stir
oh
it
yeah,
up.
there you go. Um that's a good one. I'd probably choose like somebody that's maybe okay, this is gonna sound weird.
Uh-huh.
Maybe Montez.
Montez. Why?
Trying to think of like somebody who's got a lot of energy,
Mm-hmm.
is on a tag team, which means that they're used to working in teams.
Right.
A sous chef needs to be a team player. So that's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Bryan Danielson as my non-kayfabe answer, and Montez as my actual kayfabe answer. I also think
Miriam
that I would
said
get along with
Miriam said the correct answer is Tony D'Angelo.
it.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, it's
Yeah,
Tony D'Angelo. But also, what about like Dexter Loomis? He wouldn't talk at all.
that's true. But like, what if something's like on fire that he was supposed to be like watching out for, and he's just not talking?
He'd put it out himself.
Hmm. And I hope Tony D'Angelo's there for signings at Comic Con tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope so. All right, and then finally, last question. This is specifically for you.
Oh, oh.
Milam asked, you said you like to write. What do you usually write? Fiction stories? What kind of fiction, if so?
God.
Yeah, what do you write?
Oh, the cat just went at me. Normally everything that I've written is 9 times out of 10 fiction.
Mm-hmm.
But 9 times out of 10 it's like realistic fiction, I guess. Like I write more character centric pieces than I write plot heavy stuff, I
Mm-hmm.
think. I write a lot of drama, I think. I also write like a lot of dramatic shit. 9 times out of 10 it's also not happy. I don't know why. I'm not capable of writing a happy script.
It's true. I've never read a happy script that you've written.
Okay, I did write Ghost Boys, which was the funniest thing I've ever done, and
That doesn't have a happy ending though.
it doesn't actually.
It ends with the roommate getting kicked out, the other roommate thinking that his roommate's dead, and then the third friend is trapped on the roof. And then the show got canceled.
Yeah, so I 9 times out of 10 I write drama. There's sometimes like a little romance, but
Oh.
I think the most in-depth and involved things I've written have been drama, and probably the biggest thing I've ever written was like thriller.
Yeah.
Oh. Spans. Yeah, I can branch out.
Write a rom-com with a happy ending.
Oh God. I also normally am writing scripts, so.
All right. Well, that's all the questions we have.
I'm just gonna say I'm not capable of like writing like a long narrative piece.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true actually, but that's what it feels like most times.
Right. Oh, the best answer for Miriam's question. It's
Tony
The
D'Angelo,
Rock.
we covered this.
It's The Rock. Always cooking. You can smell it.
Menu is the question.
Yeah. But anyway, before you close out, I just want to mention that we will not be doing our 2K20 Universe mode tomorrow, despite us saying we will. We'll be doing that on Sunday instead.
Liars.
Yes, we are a bunch of liars. We'll be doing that late afternoon. Follow us on Twitter to get the updates on that. That'll be late afternoon on Sunday because we're going to Comic-Con tomorrow, and we will be very busy after that with some post-wedding stuff.
Mark said that my original tweet to announce the podcast today sounded like we had gotten married, so I deleted it, made him do a new one.
Yeah.
You didn't.
I did.
Cat did.
Oh. Yeah. All right, Liz, why don't you close out?
If you joined us tonight, thank you so much, and if you join us in the future, thank you so much. Happy Halloween. We will be live again Sunday with our Universe Mode stream, and then we'll be live Monday for our Monday Night Raw stream.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. We'll also be more awake probably for the Sunday episode, so get hyped for that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. Follow and subscribe. Our YouTube is the Pinfall Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, join us at the live show, twitch.tv/the Pinfall Podcast. Our Twitter is at Pinfall Podcast. I'm at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine23, and we'll see you on Sunday with Battle of the Brands. Have a great night. Enjoy your weekend and stay safe.